What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Stephen A. Smith Show, where I tell you guys why I'm right and why you guys are wrong.
The argument makes absolutely no sense, and here's the reason why.
No, I'm kidding. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Ray Talks Hoop. Today, we're going to go ahead and talk about the Dallas Mavericks because they finally ended their 6-game losing streak by beating the Atlanta Hawks last night. So, what does this all mean for the Dallas Mavericks, and just how good can they be this season? So, very early on into the season, I made a video saying why I think the Dallas Mavericks are going to be a good team this year. Actually, I made a couple videos saying why I think the Mavericks are going to be a good team this year. And ironically, while the Mavericks were just on their 6-game losing streak, the YouTube algorithm decided to promote all those videos to new people, and I was receiving comments left and right saying, "Ray, you're stupid. The Dallas Mavericks are not a good team. They just lost the last 4, 5, 6 games in a row. This is a terrible video." But despite all of that, I'm not going to jump ship or flip-flop or whatever the kids say nowadays. I don't even know. But I'm going to stick to my original prediction saying that I think the Dallas Mavericks are going to be a good team this year. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win the championship. In fact, if they did, that would really take most of us by surprise. But I just think they're going to be a good team and they're going to make it past the first round of the playoffs. After all, I have a few legitimate reasons as to why I think the Mavericks are going to be a good team, starting off with this one right here. Reason number one: most of the people who are currently saying that the Mavericks are not going to be a good team are people who are just suffering from recency bias. A month ago, when Luka Doncic was having a 30-point triple-double what seemed to be every single night, I guarantee most of those same people would have been, "Oh yeah, the Mavericks are going to be a good team this year, absolutely." But the fact of the matter is, every single team goes through terrible runs. I'm a Laker fan, and last year, even though we won the championship, there were a couple times in last season where I did not think we were currently the best team in the NBA. Now, despite all of that, fortunately, my Lakers were able to get over the curve and they finally ended up winning the championship after not having won one for 10 years. So my reason for saying that is simple. Dude, if you keep up with basketball or sports in general, it is very rare for a team to be consistently spectacular throughout the entire year. The most recent exception to that is the Golden State Warriors when they went 73-9. Well, now that I think about it, the Warriors also did go through a slump. It just so happened to be in the NBA Finals when they lost to the Cavs. But regardless, I digress. My whole point in saying all of that was just because the Mavericks had a terrible 6-game run where they couldn't pull off a single win, it would be very stupid to overlook all the reasons for why they can still be a good team. For instance, let's just look at some very basic stats from yesterday's game. Porzingis had 24 and 11 on 50% shooting. Luka Doncic had 27, 8, and 14 on 8 of 20 from the field. Luka is slowly becoming an even more efficient 3-point shooter and an even better defender. Hardaway had 22, Richardson had 14, and Dorian had 13. And you know, Luka and Porzingis are a step above everybody else on that roster, but for the most part, the people on the Mavericks roster come to play each and every night. It might not be every night that most players have a decent game, but for the most part at least, the people on the Mavericks really buy into the system. And that leads me to my next point, which is that the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic did pretty well in last year's playoffs. At the time, many people thought that the Clippers were going to win the championship. Don't include me in that many people. I was never part of those. Never mind. But seriously, at the start of last year's playoffs, a whole lot of NBA fans would have bet money on the Clippers winning the championship. And despite the Dallas Mavericks not having Porzingis for a good amount of that series, Luka and the Mavericks pushed the Clippers to 6 games. And this year, those guys are a little bit more experienced. If you've watched Luka and Porzingis play this season, their pick and roll and pick and pop is phenomenal. Like I briefly mentioned earlier, Luka's defense has improved, his 3-point percentage has improved, and I can point out 5 or 6 guys from that roster where I can say, yeah, this guy is for sure a better basketball player this year than he was the year before. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier or not, But if I didn't, let's not forget that the Mavericks have a couple guys who are still injured. Yesterday, the Mavericks did a good job guarding Trae Young. Trae had 21 and 9, and yeah, that's still a very good night. That's a better night than your average NBA player will ever have. But it was one of those things where you have to watch the game to get what I'm talking about, because the stat line doesn't really do it justice. Even though Trae had 21 and 9, the Mavericks were denying Trae the ball whenever they had the chance. They were putting out a tremendous effort on the defensive end of the court, and that's the type of effort that the playoffs require. If I were to pinpoint something that I think the Mavericks could do a little bit better, it would be closing out games. Yesterday, they were up by double digits on the Atlanta Hawks with around 2 minutes left in the game. But by the time those 2 minutes went to 30 seconds, they were only up by 3 points. In the playoffs, when you're playing a more experienced team with some older guys that are very desperate to not retire without a championship, if you lose a lead like that in the last minute or two of the game, you're gonna lose the game. You might be able to get away with it in the regular season, but that is definitely something they gotta improve on. Anyways, that is pretty much all I had for you all today. Please give this video a thumbs up if you have not done so already. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Let me know what you think down below. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow. I'm out of here.